Hello,
Yes, sir.
good morning. Okay, from both of you, who is going to present today? Anyone has prepared?
No, sir. Actually, sir, give us little more time, sir.
If you have anybody, okay, they are joining, I think so. Okay, Anjali, you may start your, because I think so Vishnu is also ready, but he's not able to join. Okay, he's joining.
Okay, sir. So may I start?
Yeah, yes, you could share. Just see whether you are getting the sharing option or not. Yeah, fine. Okay, everyone just follow up. Okay, how you have to give the presentation, be it in your laptop or be it in your this, and you may start. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anjali, and I am here to introduce you about the renewable energy sources. So, starting with the start, what is energy? In physics, we say energy is the ability to do work. It can be in any form: heat, light, motion, electrical, chemical, or gravitational. Energy can be classified into several types based on the following. First one is primary and secondary energy sources. Second one is commercial, non-commercial energy sources. Then renewable, non-renewable energy sources. And the fourth one is conventional and non-conventional energy sources. So first, what is primary energy source and secondary energy source? The primary energy source are those which are found in nature. Example, coal, oil, natural gas, and biomass, etc. And secondary energy sources are those sources which are costly converted in industrial utilities. Example, coal, gas converted into steam and form electricity. Now, the commercial energy sources and non-commercial energy sources. Commercial energy sources are that are available in the market for a definite price. Example, electricity, lignite, coal, oil, natural gases, etc. And non-commercial energy sources are those which are not available in the market and are traditionally used. Example, firewood, agro waste, solar energy for water heating and wind energy. Now, the renewable energy and non-renewable energy sources. Renewable energy is the energy obtained from the source that are essentially inexhaustible. Example of renewable sources include wind power, solar power, geothermal energy, tidal energy, hydropower, electric power, and biogas. The most important feature of renewable energy is that it can be harnessed without the release of harmful pollutant, whereas non-renewable energy is the conventional fo- fossil fuels such as coal, oil, gas, which are likely to deplete with time. So starting with biomass energy. Biomass is organic material that comes from plant and animal, and it is a renewable source of energy. Biomass contains stored energy from the sun. Plant absorb the sun energy in a process called photosynthesis. When biomass is burned, the chemical energy in biomass is released as heat. Types of biomass. It can be wood fuel, rubbish, alcohol fuels, crops, landfill gas, etc. Here is a diagram for biomass energy. We can see that there are various sources of biomass. Example, sea waste, municipal solid waste, animal residues, industrial residues, forest crops and their residues, agriculture waste, etc. Then comes the solar energy source. Modern residential solar systems use photovoltaic PV to collect sun's energy. Photo means produced by light and voltaic is electricity produced by chemical reaction. Commercial residential PV modules range in power output from 10 watt to 300 watt in a direct current. A PV module must have and inverter to change the DC electricity into alternating current energy in order to be usable by electrical devices and compatible with the electric grid. There is a diagram of solar energy in which we can see there is a solar panel which receives sunlight and it is converted into electric current, and through charge controller it goes to battery system and then inverter converts it into a AC power source. Example of some solar energy applications. First one is heating and cooling of residential building. Second is solar water heating. Third one is solar dyeing of agriculture and animal products. Fourth one is solid production by evaporation of sewage water. Then comes solar cooker, and sixth one is solar energy for water pumping. Then solar refrigerators, solar electric power generation, solar photovoltaic cells which are used for electricity, and then there is solar furnace and etc. Then we have our wind energy source. Wind energy is a free renewable source, so no matter how much we use it today, there will still be the same supply in the future. Wind energy is also a source of clean, non-polluting electricity. Unlike conventional power plants, wind plants emit no air pollutant or greenhouse. It is a clean source of fuel. Wind energy does not pollute the air like water plants that rely on combustion of fossil fuels such as coal, natural gas, which emit particulates matter, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, causing human health problems and economic damage gases. We can see here the windmill, and then there is geothermal energy source. Geothermal energy is the heat from within the earth. We can recover this heat as a steam or a hot water, or use it to heat buildings or to generate electricity. It is a natural part of energy flow within the earth's depth. Most of the commercial grade production geothermal energy is harvested along localized geothermal systems where the heat is near enough to the surface that hot water or steam is able to rise either to the surface or depth that can be reached by drilling. Here is the picture of hot spring due to geothermal energy of the earth. And then we have tidal power. Tidal power or tidal energy is a form of hydropower that converts the energy obtained from tides into useful form of water, mainly electricity. Tides are more predictable than wind and the sun. Among the sources of renewable energy, tidal energy has traditionally suffered from relatively high cost and limited availability of the sites with sufficiently high tidal range or flow velocity, thus constraining its totally availability. So now I am here to discuss about biomass energy in some details. So my slides are going to contain introduction, the source of biomass, the uses of biomass, the advantage and disadvantage, and the biomass in the future, and then the conclusion. So again, the biomass is a renewable source of energy that is derived from living or recently living organism. It includes dead plant, tree branches, rotting garbage, agriculture, and human waste like sugarcane, grasses, or wood chips. Energy derived from biomass is totally used to generate electricity or to produce heat. Biomass is found easily all over the world. It can be chemically or biochemically treated to convert it into a energy-rich fuel. Why biomass? Biomass provides a clean, renewable energy source. Biomass energy generates far less air emissions than the fossil fuels. Unlike combustion of fossil fuels, carbon dioxide released by biomass is balanced by carbon dioxide capture in the recent growth of the biomass. So there is far less impact on the greenhouse gas levels. Where does biomass come from? Biomass is obtained from any plant, human, animal derived organic matter, wood from trees, agriculture crops, wood factory waste, and the construction industry, burnt woods from forest fire, animals, and their droppings. Here is a diagram we can see here the biomass source that includes, as earlier I told, animal residues, industrial residues, agriculture residues, sewage, forestry residues, and municipal solid waste, and etc. How biomass is produced. Producing fuel and energy from biomass is a complex but correspond directly to photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a chemical reaction in which carbon dioxide and water are transformed into oxygen gas and glucose. Through the input of energy from the sun, plants become autotrophs because they use glucose as a source of energy rather than fossil fuels. Biomass is manufactured from crops, wood, manure, landfill gases, and alcohol fuels. Biomass can be converted to other usable forms of energy, such as methane gas or transportation fuels such as ethanol and biodiesel. Crops like corn and sugarcane can be fermented to produce ethanol, biodiesel, and another transportation fuel, and can be produced from leftover the food products like vegetable oils and animal fats. Here is a diagram of the carbon cycle. Here we can see that a tree uses oxygen from the atmosphere and nutrients from the soil and go to the process of photosynthesis, and the carbon and the industry which release carbon is also used by the plants to 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 make their photosynthesis process goes on. Types of biomass: garbage, crop, wood, landfills, alcohol fuels. And then we are going to discuss what is biofuels and biodiesel. Biofuels are created from vegetable oil or animal-based oil. Example, canola, soybean oil, palm oil, grease, sewage, or leftover trash. It is used as fuels for vehicles. Biodiesel is also a type of fuel created by vegetable or animals oil, but it can often blended with regular diesel. Biodiesel is a cleaner alternative to diesel, but not all vehicles can use it. Basically, we can say these are an upgraded version of vegetable oils. Unlike, unlike other renewable energy sources, biomass can convert it directly into fuels, biofuels for our transportation need. Car, trucks, bus, aeroplane, and trains. The most common type of biofuels are ethanol and biodiesel. Ethanol is an alcohol created by fermenting biomass high in carbohydrates. It is used as fuel additive to cut down carbon monoxide and other emissions. What is biodiesel? A diesel equivalent biofuel made from renewable material, made from vegetable oils or animal fats. Several types of fuels are called biodiesel. Usually, biodiesel refers to an ester on an or an oxygenate made from the oils and methanol. Or we can say, in other words, biodiesel is a fuel made primarily from the oils and fats of plants. Although it can be used as a straight replacement to a diesel, the blend of biodiesel to diesel can be as low as 20% biodiesel, 80% diesel. How it is produced? Biodiesel can be produced through a trans esterification process forming fatty ester. One of the byproduct of production is glycerol, which can then be sold as an independent product. Properties of biodiesel. The physical and the chemical property of a biodiesel are similar to those petroleum diesel. Moreover, it is environment friendly, non-hazardous and biodegradable. The application of biodiesel range from transportation vehicle to farming equipment to industrial machinery. Bioproduction process. Here is a diagram where we can see the process of transesterification. The vegetable oil or the animal fats goes through the process of transesterification, which result in production of biodiesel, then goes to then goes to refinery and form the biodiesel. Whereas during the process of transesterification, it also gives crude glycerin that goes to glycerin refinery and gives the product of and gives byproduct of glycerin. And during the process of glycerin refinery, some methanol recovery is done, and methanol plus catalyst again goes to transesterification process. Sustainable biofuels and economic development. Incorporation of the biofuels industry into a national development plans, we can contribute to achieving the country's overall development objectives. Biofuel industry allow community participation, including local farmers. Biofuel offers sustainable development option that is full of promises and developed in a ways that protect our planet. Advantage of biomass. The main advantage of biomass are biomass is a renewable fuel source. Biomass energy production results in minimal environment impact. Employment generation in rural areas. Alcohol fuels are efficient and clean burning. The availability of biomass fuel is universal. Now some disadvantage of biomass. It is quite expensive to make, haven't found way to store the energy, also requires more fuel and requires more land. And now the biomass and the carbon emission. Biomass emits carbon dioxide when it naturally decays and when it is used as an energy source. Plant and trees absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through photosynthesis. Biomass causes a closed cycle with no net emission of greenhouse gases. Future of biomass. Biomass is a renewable energy source because we can always grow more trees, crops, and waste is always existed. Biomass is a great option for energy of the future. Technology improvements will increase biomass energy. As the world became more able to use its waste, more biomass. And finally, the conclusion, as there appears to be a general agreement that the era of the cheap oils has ended, it is essential for India to look for an alternative renewable fuel options such as biofuels, biodiesel and bioethanol to provide energy security and environment protection. Thank you everyone to listening me.
Thank you, Anjali. It was a great presentation. So I would ask if anyone has any query about the PPT, what presentation, what she presents. That is the introduction of renewable energy and biomass energy. Yeah. If anyone is having, you may ask. Else, I have few questions. I will just ask. Anyone? Okay. So Anjali, my question is, in one of the disadvantages of biomass, okay, it is like it has adverse environmental impacts. Okay, I think so that point was not mentioned, but it is the one of the uh, disadvantages of biomass energy. Can you explain how it would be having adverse environmental impacts about only about the biomass energy?
So biomass energy requires more land, and in order to plant and do it, we require more land and more trees will be cut down. So it also affects the environment.
Okay, one point there you have made that space requirement is required. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so any other that you told more requirements, and the another was your uh,
So
default.
it is, yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So you are talking about that maybe bioenergy extra practices can be done to further deforestation. Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
And other, like we have a lot of resources, okay, to have as a fuel of this biomass energy. So how you could also have the other impact. Okay, one you told about the forest, we get petals and forest residues from this. So extra practices would be done that for mainly for biomass energy, they would be focusing on more and more deforestation to get the resource and for constructing the this. And another segment that could also impact.
So it is expensive
Ah,
technique.
it is expensive. Okay, fine. I'm talking about environmental impacts. One you told that it requires large space, so deforestation. I got it. Okay, that more and forest would be there. So it has more reason about the deforestation. Okay, like what will happen, how environmental impact will happen. Okay, like if you are targeting any of the forest to remove, so the habitants is disturbed at that plant, maybe it plants habitants or maybe the animals habitants, it get disturbed in this process. Okay, and even the clearing this plant and organic material from the earth uh, can also impact the health of the surrounding soils. Okay, there's lot and processing is being going. So one is being covered, that is a forest. So another resource we are getting for biomass is from which segment? We also get these from agriculture, right?
Yes, sir.
So the another impact would be from the agriculture side. Okay, so what we'll do is, if any particular area in the village or in the community, if we are having this biomass segment. Okay, so what we'll do is the another unethical practical would be there for agriculture. That is uh, they would be focusing on producing or irrigating sole this crops. Okay, or sole bioenergy uh, resources only. Okay, to provide more and more fuel to the biomass. Okay, so these segment requires lot of water to grow. Okay, and there is a
Yes, sir.
continuous irrigation. Okay, of these resources. And even the segment is there is a crop rotation segment in if you have studied in 12th till 12th standard, definitely you have studied. Okay, so there is a to provide good facility of nutrients to the soil. Okay, they do a crop rotation segment and also, okay, so that will be also effective.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the another segment is okay, this though it is considered as a renewable energy, but though it produces pollutant, okay,
Yes,
like
sir.
like coal, okay, the alternative of coal, okay, they also uh, produces other pollutants, right? Okay, so it was a nice presentation. Okay, what we'll do is we'll be marking this, okay, so that while providing you all marks, it will be beneficial us to me to provide the marks also. Okay, so based on this we'll do. So next, I think so. Where is Vishnu? Vishnu, you are ready?
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
Okay, so we have 9 minutes. It will be over in 9 minutes, or we will start in from 11:30.
Sir, as you wish, you can say.
Okay, so how many slides you have prepared for?
Sir, I have 14 slides, sir.
Oh,
It will be within 9 minutes.
okay, then you may start.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good morning, sir, and all my dear friends. This is Vishnu Kurai, and going to show a presentation on renewable energy over here. So, basically, we know that renewable energy that resources we can use again and again, and it is environmentally. But in another case, in non-renewable energy resources, we use coal and nuclear. In nuclear power plant, you use uranium like that. That is not stable. So that's why we prefer more on renewable energy, because it is in environmentally we can get this. So in here we use solar power plant, wind power plant, tidal power plant, bioenergy power plant. In bioenergy there is more further two plants are there within it. One is biogas and another one is biomass, and finally there is a geothermal power plant as well. So let's start. There are different types of renewable energy sources I told here. This is solar energy, wind energy, tidal, geothermal, and biomass. So let's start one by one. This is preview diagram. So how solar power plant looks like. So this is solar power plant, and this one is wind power plant. Here we use windmills to generate electricity by using wind. And this is tidal power plant. Here we use tides of the ocean waves. And this is geothermal. You can get from this word geothermal means the heat of the earth. So and this is finally there is a biomass power plant. We use the cow dungs, buffalo dungs, and food wastes as well. You can use here. So let's start one by one. This is a solar power plant. Basically, solar energy is the energy the Earth receives from the sun, and primarily as visible light and other forms of electromagnetic radiation. So here in this power plant, solar energy can be converted into electrical energy by using solar plates. Here we use solar arrays, and the solar array is basically a combination of solar modules, solar panels, and basically we use solar cell, that is PV cell or photovoltaic cell. It is made up of silicon and if we will talk about silicon, so silicon is made, we can made from by heating the carbon with sand at I think 2000 degrees Celsius, so we can get silicon. So this is the basic diagram how solar power plant works. So we use solar panel here, and in within solar panel there is one process happening. That process we say that PN junction process. When sunlight comes to the N type, that is negative type. So electron try to pass through the p-n junction or depletion zone. So electron in depletion zone there is full of electron, so cannot pass. So by using another way, we pass through this sunlight into the p type. And throughout this way or throughout this journey, we if we will use any bulb, so that bulb will glow because of flow of electron. And we know also flow of electron is current. So that current is basically it is DC, direct current. So by using direct current we cannot use our home appliances because they are DC appliances. So by using inverter we convert that DC into AC, and we can use in homes as well, and in substation we can store for further. So now let's come wind turbine, wind power plant. So wind power is a good, renewable, clean, and free source of energy for power production. Reduce the dependence on fossil fuels, including important oils. If we will talk about the coal power plant, that is non-renewable or conventional, there we use lots of coal. Here we don't no need to require any coal, uranium, and other thing also. Here this is by using wind we can use here. So reduce here in this way, reduce emission of greenhouse gas and other pollutants. And one major concern is the noise be improved. If we in coal power plant there produce lots of that is not, they are not eco-friendly. This is eco-friendly. Here we there is no any pollution. So this is the working diagram of the windmill or wind power plant. Here there is a rotor. Here when blades rotate, let me tell you the whole construction in detail in of wind power plant. Here this is, there is rotor hub, and this is blade. When blade rotate, there is and this is spindle rotate, and then there is one gearbox. The work of that gearbox is when people generally think that blades rotate slowly, so it will, how that electricity will be generated fastly or a large amount of electricity. But the inner construction in our engineers, Indian engineers, have made that when this in cycles, when our pedals moves, that our cycle wheel is moves in fastly, that ratio is 1 is to 20. And this windmill, the ratio is 1 is to 100. It means that when this blade of that windmill rotate one round, that inner inner gearbox containing that one rod, that rod is connected to the our alternator, that will rotate 100 times. Its ratio is 1 is to 100. That's why we can got a large amount of electricity by using windmill. And here is when we use anemometer, because the direction of the wind is not stable, it's change. So that by using anemometer, there that windmill can got the direction of the wind. And by using their yawning in the neck of the windmill, there is one instrument like yawning. It by using yawning, it's that change the direction. Okay, so now go to the tidal power plant. So the ocean covers 75% of the world's surface. So by using this, we can got also here also a large amount of electricity. And here by using the ocean waves, we can use the we can use that waves, and we rotates our turbine. Here in this figure, there is clear showing that tides when tides come into this tidal barrage, the turbine will rotate, and by turbine is connected with the alternator. So when rotate, our alternator will also rotate, and by using the Faraday law, our alternator will produce electricity. Because the principle of, we know, alternator is, it converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. So now let's go to the geothermal power plant. Basically, geothermal energy is the heat from the earth. It's clean and sustainable as well. And resources of geothermal energy range from the shallow ground of to hot water and hot rock. It means that when we will deep the earth's land, it will heat in the further kilometers in the deep, there is large amount of heat is present, that magma core is also there. So this is the working diagram of the geothermal power plant. Here we put cold water in the this blue arrows put cold water, and that due to the geothermal heat, that cold water convert into steam and hot water, and this hot water go to the turbine, and our turbine will be rotate and produce electricity. This was the basic diagram of the geothermal plant. So now let's come to the biomass energy. Here biomass energy we use that cow dung, buffalo dung, and our food wastes and animal and that agriculture waste as well. And by using this we heat that this type of wastes, and that electricity will be generated through that heated steam. And in biogas we use that biogas. Let me show you the full diagram of biomass, you can understand. Here, this is the diagram. Here in slurry inlet we put that cow dungs like that with water. We mix here in the slurry tank. After that we transfer the slurry tank into the digestion tank. This the in middle of the this is digestion tank. Here we store the slurry into I think approx almost 50 to 60 days, and after the digestion that gas slurry gas will emit here. So then that gas valve will pass that slurry gas, due to the slurry gas we heat that slurry gas and pass into the turbine, and our turbine will rotate, and in this way we can got the electricity. And in the waste materials, apart from that steam slurry